Hi, welcome to another edition of the Weekly Wrap, where we talk about news nuggets mined from the dailies of last week's newspapers. Hi, I'm Cal Anderson, a local activist in Lynn, and this happens to be also Community Media Day. So make sure you watch community media. We're just hyping it up. We're going to have an open house maybe in the spring or maybe later in the winter, but watch community TV, and in the meantime, come down and take a tour of LCTV, and they'll show you how to get involved. So it's also fall time. And what is fall time? It's the time when we have apples and apple cider donuts and apple cider and applesauce. And that reminds me of trees. And my guest today knows a lot about trees and planting them. Welcome to the show, Clay Larsen.
Well, thanks for having me. This is a really great opportunity, and I love cider donuts. I just ate a half a dozen earlier this week.
They're the rite of fall. So tell us about your program and how, why you're here to tell the people how they can be involved in Lynn.
Great. As I said, my name is Clay Larsen. I work for a nonprofit called Groundwork, and we've been engaged by the state of Massachusetts to help plant trees in Lynn. And the goal of the program is to actually just plant as many trees as we can in this specific area. We call it the green zone, and it's largely Ward 6 and 7 with a little bit of 5. And it's a really exciting program.
Yeah. Now, those are specifically along what I see is the Bennett Street corridor. Alley Street might be in there. It's what we have been known traditionally as the Brickyard neighborhood.
Exactly, okay. Yeah.
There's other neighborhoods in town, but this is the focus. Now, this is indeed something that the citizens are supposed to be involved with by identifying, and how do they offer or ask if they can have trees on their street?
Well, the thing that I wanted to really make clear today is it's a neat program because this is for homeowners. And actually small businesses in the zone. The trees can actually be planted on your property, in your backyard, your front yard. They don't have to be a street tree, even though we are doing some street trees. So the way to get involved in it is actually, so my job is to actually get the word out. And I've been working with some interns, and we've been knocking door to doors, handing out flyers. And this winter we're going to be working with the community to just make people aware of the program. The DCR, which is the Department of Conservation and Recreation, they're planting the trees. They have really skilled foresters who will actually, you have a number that you can call, and you can call and let them leave a message and let them know where your house is, and then they'll call you back, and then they'll set up an appointment and come out to your house and find a really good spot for your tree, and then they'll help you decide what type of tree, and then they'll come back and plant it. So it's really for the citizens of Lynn, which is neat. It's not just for lining the streets with trees.
Wonderful. I remember back when I was at Williams College 31 years ago, I was involved with a similar group doing arboreal renewal, they called it, in Bennington, Vermont. And we did the same thing. Where there wasn't room on the streets, we went into the private citizens and said, can we put this tree here? Now, it's just not willy-nilly, because there is a certain responsibility. And this is where I have some experience in planting with other groups. The Highlands Coalition has planted about 200 trees over the past 8 to 10 years.
That's fantastic.
In the Highlands neighborhood. But we just don't put them in. We approach and talk to the citizens because it's important, like any newborn, to nourish until the roots establish themselves and get their own groundwater. You have to water them. So this is part of the program you have too. So how do you approach the citizens? Of course, the best thing to do is get the old-fashioned hose out.
Right.
This means what, 5 gallons a day?
5 gallons a day. You're exactly right. When a tree goes into the ground, if it's really watered well, when it's getting established, like 5 gallons a day, you'll be really healthy. Within a couple of years, it'll be on its own and independent, like a teenager growing up in the world.
Right. Now, if people don't have a hose, I find they can just have some water jugs. Get some water, milk jugs or juice jugs, fill them with water, make sure they're marked so that if you, nobody uses it for potable water. We had a fatality in Nahant a few years ago with a mismarked bottle of herbicide or something, and the kid drank it. And
no, we're not using any herbicides.
See what I did? Plant water, tape all over it. You don't want to drink out of this, but you can pour these 5 in.
Right.
And I see sometimes they put those green bags around a new planted tree. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I believe most of the trees come with a gator bag.
It's called a gator bag.
Is the the product name, and those are awesome because you can just fill them up with a garden hose, and they're about 5 gallons, and then they just sort of leak into the ground. So
the important thing is I've seen those in use in other cities, and I don't know what the unit cost is for each of those, but if they're not used properly, that means if somebody isn't filling that back up, they drain once, and then they're just good money spent after bad. So what I've done over the years is you take, this runs about $50 for 100 feet of just drainage tube. You get it, you cut it to maybe 18-inch to 2-foot lengths, and when you're planting the tree, you put it down with a little bit, a few inches sticking out of the ground, but this, when you pour the water in, sort of like bottle feeding a baby, right down where the roots where it should be. And then every spring I also throw down there and diluted tree and shrub fertilizer. That's important too.
Stimulant fertilizer,
anything like that. So does
that's a great technique because it gets the water down where the roots are. Another, if a tree's been planted well, they also do something where they put a ring of soil. They raise a little of the soil up around the plant, and that acts like a little bowl. So when you fill it with the water will actually seep in onto the roots of the plant.
Yes, and it actually collects rainwater better that way too.
And then getting a little mulch on the roots too to keep them cool and moist. That really helps.
It's just common sense, but you can learn more about the program if you call the number, and I'm sure we got a graphic on the screen, and there's the map of where you're planting your program in Lynn, and just think about getting involved with it.
We have a Facebook page too. That if you want, like our Facebook page, it's Tree Lynn. If you go on Facebook, and we're going to be developing a website over the winter.
Wonderful.
And to learn more about the program.
So this is something we should all get involved with. There's 2,400 trees being planted, and this is over the next year or so.
Yeah, the program goes for a few more years, and we really got to up our numbers. We actually have 250 in the ground this year, which is exciting. But we need a lot more, so I'm hoping there's almost enough trees for everybody to have one in the green zone.
All right.
So,
good. Well, I hope people get involved with this. We usually talk a little bit about some headlines now, but the thing is we're running out of time because we've been talking so much about your wonderful program.
Okay.
I do have a couple of snippets. This one's from the Boston Globe. I just wanted to share this. It's a green thing. Did you know that because there's so few things that really occur that are blue in nature, but bees are attracted to blue, there are some flowers, they're finding out, that give off a blue illusion to attract the bees. Now, this shows you nature takes care of it, right?
Nature knows what it's doing.
And the end of the end is I've noticed this the past few years, when you drive in the summer, you don't see all the bugs that you used to see splattered against your windshield and your headlights. That's because flying insects are on the wane. Another thing we should talk about. You know what that is, by the way, Clay? That's telling us it's time to wrap up the show.
Well, thank you for having me, and get a tree, and keep loving Lynn.